Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Thursday's webinar, Exploring Microsoft Fabric. Thank you so much for being here. We know that you're busy with lots of other things to do, but I'm here with my colleague, Fahim Javed, and he's going to be presenting Microsoft Fabric to you. And we will start in just a moment. I just wanted to welcome you on behalf of Excel Instructor-Led Training. And in case you didn't know, ExitCertified, ExitCertified, and WebAge Solutions are now all part of Excel. And together we have 60 years of IT training experience. And we all work together to bring you customized courses for teams from ExitCertified, vendor authorized certification courses from ExitCertified, and large-scale upskilling programs for your entire organization with WebAge Solutions. And we teach a lot of different technologies. So of course, all the Microsoft official courses like Fabric, but also data visualization, cloud technology, data engineering, DevOps, and a lot more. But today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Fabric with Fahim. Fahim is a Microsoft certified trainer, and he's got a lot of deep expertise in all things business intelligence, machine learning, Azure, Spark, Power BI, Copilot, Gen AI, and of course, Microsoft Fabric. Fun fact, he's been a full stack developer since the crazy 1990s and holds numerous certifications, including Azure Solutions Architect and Azure Data Engineer. We're also very lucky that he teaches our Microsoft Fabric courses, and he's got 25 years of teaching experience, and he teaches any standard Microsoft official courseware, and also builds custom training courses for our clients. And speaking of training, if you are looking for Microsoft Fabric training after this webinar, so this is like a 1-hour snapshot, but a good next step would be Microsoft official course DP 600, Microsoft Fabric Analytics Engineer. It's live instructor-led and hands-on. We've got virtual courses if you're just 1 or 2 people needing to take a course. That'll be running July 15th through 18th. That's the next one we have. But we can also create customized courses for your team or organization, and those can be online or at your site. So with that, I will let Fahim take it away, and I will stop share. Oh, and I'll put the URLs of the Microsoft Fabric's courses into the chat. So let me go ahead and stop my share.
Thank you very much, Anne. Greetings, everyone. So hopefully you can see my screen. If yes, please give me a thumbs up.
I'm giving you a virtual thumbs up.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's get started with the agenda. So overall, the purpose of this brief webinar is to review or cover what exactly Fabric is and how it can help you or your organization to accomplish your goals. So keeping this in mind, let me quickly discuss the agenda first. So overall, it's about just an end-to-end overview of Fabric. So what exactly Fabric is. And I'll talk about what used to be the case before Fabric came out and what's the new picture of the world since Fabric has come out. Then I'll talk about what if you're in a different role, like you're a data engineer, you're a data modeler / data warehouse designer, you're a data scientist or data analyst, or if you're a decision maker, then how you can benefit from this Fabric technology. And then last but not the least, I'll also go over some additional miscellaneous bits and pieces as well that are offered by this Fabric technology. So keeping this in mind, let's get started with the overview of Fabric. So what exactly Fabric is and why we should care for it. So Fabric-wise, it's basically an end-to-end data analytics platform. End-to-end. Everything can be done, right from getting your raw data to cleaning it up. As a data engineer, you'll want to clean it up, you'll want to refine it, shape it up, model it. And then after that, as a data scientist, you'll want to implement some machine learning, AI sort of stuff, and then present fancy dashboards, reports to your executives and whatnot. So overall, it's an end-to-end data analytics platform. So you want to go from data to having satisfied customers, or even as let's say a business decision maker, you want to be satisfied with what we have available to us. You want to be able to make decisions basically. So overall, it's a unified integrated system where we have lots of options available to integrate different data sources and whatnot. So it supports unified integration. It also lets you orchestrate your data flows, like you can create pipelines, and you can also configure security, like who should have access to what at the enterprise level. So there's some governance sort of aspect available as well. So overall, Fabric is this end-to-end data analytics platform. And like I briefly mentioned previously, you can benefit from this technology regardless of the role you're in. So as a data engineer, you can create your data pipelines. As a data scientist, you can use machine learning. You can use EDA, exploratory data analytics, if you want. You can utilize deep learning, AI sort of stuff as well if needed. And even if you're just a report designer, you want to create reports, dashboards, even then you can benefit from it. So data architects, data modelers, even executives, managers, decision makers, end users, they can benefit from this technology as well. So you can see that it's an end-to-end data analytics platform. Now, what used to be the case before Fabric came out? So before Fabric, yes, we still had lots of technologies, and they sort of gave you this vague idea that, yes, you can integrate them and create the end-to-end data analytics solutions. But Fabric has made this more popular. It has made things easier as well. So before Fabric came out, like I'll not talk about what used to be the case, let's say in the 1990s or even early 2000s. Like we used to have business intelligence development studio. We had integration services, reporting services. We had analysis services and whatnot. No, I'll not go that back or that much back. So overall, even in the recent past, we have had Power BI service. So how many people use Power BI service? Please raise your hand or leave a message in the chat window. Awesome, appreciate it. So quite a few people already have Power BI service. So likewise, we have something called Azure Synapse. So Azure Synapse is the big data analytics solution available on Azure. So it has been available for quite a while now, for several years. And we also have Azure Data Lake Storage, ADLS, as well. But the issue with these technologies has been they have been somewhat technical to integrate. So when you want to implement data analytics at the enterprise level, you have to integrate these things. So overall, you end up using this platform as a service or PaaS sort of offering available as part of Microsoft Azure and whatnot, and you have to manually integrate all of these services. So you need an experienced administrator who can configure these things. So that is where some companies usually give up on this big data solution on Azure/cloud platform. So that is where Fabric simplifies things. So Microsoft realized the fact that there will be lots of customers, clients, organizations who will not have very, let's say, experienced administrator who will want to manage the whole thing on the daily basis. So at times you want to simplify the solution and still want to be able to implement this big data analytics sort of solution. So that is where Fabric simplifies things. So overall, it basically provides us with everything available as part of the single service called Fabric. So now it is a software as a service, SaaS. So overall, you just go to fabric.com, or I'll show you other options as well in just a bit. But overall, you can utilize this Fabric subscription, and you will have everything available to you, almost out of the box. And there will be very little configuration required. So your main focus will be on using this out of the box kind of integrated environment that lets you do everything. Like as a data engineer, you want to create data pipelines. As a data scientist, you want to use machine learning, AI sort of stuff, even generative AI or Gen AI sort of stuff and whatnot. So there'll be more focus on implementation and less on administration. And it also supports hybrid or multi-cloud integrations where you could still have your on-prem kind of infrastructure, and you can still integrate your on-prem setup with your on-cloud fabric sort of setup. Or for that matter, you could have maybe data on AWS cloud platform, and even that can be integrated as well. So simply put, the major difference between the older approach and the newer approach is the older approach was manually integrated. You have to configure everything manually. And no doubt, with this manual integration, you do get more advanced bells and whistles or features, like you can have more advanced AI machine learning implemented. You can have insanely huge amount of data processed as well in a very short amount of time. So definitely, no doubt, the manual integrated solution will be more superior. But if you want ease of use, and you don't care for just insane amount of data, you have maybe a few 100 gigabyte of data. It's not petabyte of data. In that case, Fabric is more than sufficient. So Fabric overall lets you store data, process it, and present it to your end users in the form of dashboards and whatnot. So overall, Fabric is a SaaS, software as a service solution. And the foundation here is this OneLake. So OneLake is basically your data store solution. So this is where you store every type of file you can think of. So if you have, let's say, Excel workbooks, CSV files, JSON files, and whatnot, even if you have SQL Server, relational databases, and whatnot, you will eventually want to store data in this OneLake. Something I'll point out in more detail in just a bit. So this is your data storage area. You store data here. And then when you are in different roles, such as data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, and whatnot, you'll be able to use different bits and pieces, something I'll talk about in just a bit, like Data Factory. We have other solutions or options available as well. And we even have Power BI as well. So simply put, Fabric is basically this thing. So if I show you a brief demo before I discuss more slides. So if you, let's say, go to powerbi.com, and when you create a new workspace, so if I go to this workspaces and create a new workspace here, you will notice that we have different subscriptions available. So for example, we have Pro, we have premium capacities there as well. We even have Fabric as well. So if you go with this particular subscription, Fabric capacity subscription, you will be able to make your Power BI service portal a lot more powerful. So now you will have different sections available to you. So are you a data engineer? Do you want to engineer your data by creating your data pipelines? Are you a data scientist who wants to use maybe Jupyter notebooks, write code in Python, and implement machine learning, Gen AI, or deep learning sort of stuff and whatnot? So you can use different views. So we have different additional capabilities available when we have this Fabric subscription. And I'll show you some more demos in just a bit. But overall, know that when you have the Fabric subscription available, you have everything end-to-end data engineering / data analytics options available to you. So overall, if you are, let's say, a data engineer, Fabric lets you utilize different technologies. Like you can use SQL queries to query your data, to design your data structure, your data warehouses, and whatnot. Or you can say that, no, I'm a Python-based developer. I know Python programming. I'm a data scientist. I'm a data engineer. I want to create my pipelines by using Python. So you can use Spark or PySpark option as part of this Fabric technology. So here, if I just briefly point it out for now, if I switch to, let's say, maybe this demo. So here you can see that I'm using Fabric and I'm able to write code in Python. I can read files that are uploaded to my OneLake, which is the storage area available as part of Fabric. So you can see the output as well. You can even query your other file formats. So for example, here you can even have, let's say, Excel workbooks as well. So here I already have, let's say, this sample Excel workbook. I'm reading the data and I'm able to show outputs here in the form of tables, charts, and whatnot. So in short, as a data scientist, as a data engineer, you can use Python by using the Spark pool, which is available as part of Fabric technology. And again, no special setup is required. You just need to get the subscription. And now Microsoft will take care of everything for you, like the setup of the infrastructure, integration of those technology. That is mostly done by Microsoft. And you just focus on writing your code in Python and SQL and just get done with it. So later on, I'll point out some SQL sort of stuff as well. But overall, know that as an SQL developer or even as a Python data scientist, data engineer, you can benefit from this Fabric technology. If you are in some other role, you can use some other technologies. Like if you're a data analyst, you just want to design reports, create dashboards, we have Power BI service available as part of the same Fabric technology. So those who have already used Power BI before know that it's available here in Fabric, along with the rest of the components of this ecosystem that lets you store data as part of OneLake, where you can store data in various file formats. Usually advanced data engineers prefer using Delta Lake or Parquet file formats. Otherwise, you can just use CSV, Excel workbooks if you want. And these are the different technologies or sort of different services. They let us utilize Power BI. We can utilize Python or PySpark as part of the Spark cluster. We can use T-SQL or Transact SQL as well and whatnot. And then various roles can benefit from these. So you just subscribe to it, get a subscription, and you just open up the right area where you're supposed to do some data modeling or write some piece of code and whatnot. So this is a typical end-to-end kind of architecture where you will end up having some data entry system, like you could have Power Apps or any other front-end application can be there. You can have REST APIs, and they can write data to, let's say, your transactional databases like SQL, Oracle, and whatnot. And then rather than querying this SQL Server database right away, so rather than using Power BI desktop and connecting to this database right away, we actually end up creating this enterprise setup like this. Because if you connect to some database directly, you're going to cause too much overhead on the database. So this database is already busy. You're adding, updating, deleting records nonstop here on the daily basis, hourly basis, every minute you could have new transactions. So now if you try to create reports against that database, you will slow down the performance. And also, if you have lots of data entry systems, you have lots of data sources like CSV, Excel workbooks. So maybe you have 300 Excel workbooks, you have 400 CSV files. So rather than making life miserable for these data analysts, So and ask them to connect to every data source one at a time. We basically engineered this enterprise setup like this. So we basically end up taking data and we end up storing it in this one lake. So even if we have some database server, we usually end up taking data that we have in database tables, and we end up designing pipelines or data flows, and they will extract the data, potentially transform it, shape it up, modify it, clean it up, and then dump it in this one lake storage. And then next, you can do some data modeling. You can interconnect tables, add missing columns that do not already exist. You can add them, remove something if needed, do data modeling here, basically. You can also create groups. You can create bins. So grouping and binning can be done. You can create hierarchies and whatnot. So you can basically model your data here. And then once you have this modeled data warehouse, which you can also think of as data lake house, because the underlying data storage is this one lake. So we usually call this a data lake house as well, or you can just call it data warehouse. So simply put, this data warehouse is consolidating data from several different data sources. And this is going to act as a single source of truth for your entire organization. So now you're asking all data analysts to just be aware of this single point of contact. So just this data warehouse, without worrying about where exactly the data came from. So data engineers, they have already created these pipelines to design this lakehouse/warehouse. And now data analysts, they just have to connect to this single source of truth, which is insanely fast. So reports, dashboards, they'll be very, very fast because of the underlying infrastructure, which is composed of multiple nodes. They are doing massive parallel processing for us here. So overall, you have this enterprise setup where data is centralized in this data warehouse/lakehouse, and it will give you top-notch performance. So now you can design your reports and then upload them or publish them to this Power BI service. And all of this stuff is Fabric. So it's your data storage area. It also lets you create these pipelines to orchestrate data. It also lets you design your data warehouses, enterprise data warehouses. It lets you create reports, and it even lets data scientists implement machine learning, AI sort of stuff that I'll briefly point out in just a bit. But in short, Fabric is this thing. And you can get up and running with Fabric the moment you get a subscription. You have this infrastructure available to you. Otherwise, without Fabric, admins, they typically have to spend a day or two at least to set up the infrastructure. Then they have to regularly maintain it as well. Whereas here you get up and running with this Fabric setup in a very fast manner. And now maintenance wise, there's very little stuff you have to do here. So you mostly now just have to engineer your data and create. Almost any role can benefit from this Fabric technology, like as a data engineer. If you want to, let's say, take data from SQL Server and other file formats and store it in that one lake technology, you can choose to write code in T-SQL if you want. Not that we will cover any of this stuff practically in this very brief webinar, but in the detailed courses, we do talk about all of this stuff practically. But for now, know that you can design your data warehouse by consolidating data from different data sources, either by using TSQL syntax, or if you say that, no, I don't know T-SQL, I just want to use some visual graphical technique. I want to drag and drop. I want to create my data pipeline in a visual manner. Then in that case, you can use this Data Factory option, Azure Data Factory. So it's a graphical way of creating your pipeline where you'll say, I want to get data from some SQL server or from CSV or Excel. I want to transform it, add some column, remove some column, filter out some data, and then I want to write it to my data warehouse or my lakehouse. So you can basically design your data pipelines in a graphical manner as well if needed. And it still lets you execute some code as well, like T-SQL code, Python code if needed. So you still have lots of flexibility available here. And if you say that, no, I want to use Power BI styled option to create my, let's say, data warehouse. I want to take data from my data sources like Excel, CSV, SQL Server, and whatnot, and I want to modify it, shape it up, and I want to dump it to my data warehouse. You can use this option as well called data flows. Question, how many people are familiar with Power Query Editor? Has anyone utilized Power Query Editor in Power BI desktop or something like that? Yes, awesome. So those who have used this option know that you can use the exact same UI, the exact same look and feel to create your data pipelines. And even if you're using, let's say, Tableau, Tableau-wise, no. When it comes to creating your pipeline, no, you cannot use Tableau at this point. You can use Tableau to design your reports and dashboards afterward, but no, to create your data pipelines. The third option here is to use this Power Query Editor sort of look and feel. So overall, data pipelines can be designed in several ways. T-SQL, graphical technique, Power Query Editor-based technique, or if you say that I'm a Python developer, I'm a data scientist, I'm a data engineer who knows Python, then in that case, you can use Jupyter Notebooks and write code in Python. That basically ends up utilizing the Spark cluster. So overall, we call it PySpark. And you'll be able to read any file, any data source of your choice, do any sort of activities such as any transformation can be performed here, and you can dump it to any destination of your choice. So even as a Python programmer, you can create your data pipelines. Is anyone a Python programmer here or a data scientist? So those who use Python, please raise your hand or leave a message in the chat window. And while we are talking about this Python portion, let me just briefly point it out here. So overall, when you create a workspace here that is making use of Fabric, the Fabric subscription, you'll be able to create your data lakes from here, or let me just switch to this one for now. This one, and let me open up this lakehouse, or I think I already have this one open here. Perhaps this one. Okay, so when you create a Fabric-based subscription, or you have the Fabric subscription available to you, you'll be able to create new Jupyter notebooks here, and you'll be able to utilize PySpark or even other languages if needed. So definitely, if you're familiar with Python, pandas, you use matplotlib, you use Seaborn or PyTorch. So these are different libraries we use for machine learning, data analytics, and whatnot. You are able to use all of that stuff here. You can write the code in Python here. And you don't need to set up anything in particular. You just subscribe, you get the subscription basically. So just get the Fabric subscription, and you already have this integrated Spark tool available where you can start creating your Jupyter notebooks. So simply put, you can write code in Python so that you can design your pipelines to create your data warehouse and whatnot. And if you want to use sort of a more visual way of setting up your, let's say, data model, like you want to create a relationship between tables and whatnot, you can design your data warehouse in a more graphical manner as well. So you'll be able to see what one lake storage based files are available to you, and then you'll be able to convert them to tables, very much like database tables. And you'll be able to interconnect these tables by using one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many sort of relationships. So you can design your data warehouses in sort of a more graphical manner as well. So you can see that if you are a beginner or a non-technical user, you just want to do things graphically, you can do so. If you are familiar with T-SQL, you can do that as well. If you're familiar with Python, you can use that as well. So it offers different technologies or different features to different roles. So you can design your models in an easy manner as well. And likewise, if you are, let's say, utilizing machine learning sort of concepts, pattern recognition, such as data classification. So you want to find out whether some credit card transaction, it's a fraudulent activity or it's a legitimate kind of transaction. You want to classify it. Or you want to predict something. You want to find out what could be the next potential sale. So if we have certain sales data available to us, what could be your next potential sale available? You can also do some clustering as well. So in short, there are different algorithms, machine learning sort of algorithms, and they can all be utilized to you. So simply put, as a data scientist, you can perform your data scientist kind of operations here. Like you can prepare your data by fine-tuning it, which is also known as data wrangling. You can train your model, which is a bunch of algorithms. You can do hyperparameter tuning as well. You can score your models and get the predictions. And actually, none of this stuff is new. Although these days we mostly use Python, but it has been available for a very, very long time. So machine learning has been available for a very, very long time. Like personally, I've been using machine learning even as part of Business Intelligence Development Studio, 2005. So even then we had something called data mining, where we used to create mining structures. We used to specify different algorithms like neural network, association, clustering, and whatnot, and what exactly you want to predict. We used to specify that. We were able to use DMX, data mining extension syntax, to specify what algorithm or model we want to use, such as decision trees and whatnot, and we were able to predict data. So even back in the day, we had machine learning available, and these days we mostly do it in Python. So Python-wise, here I have this simple machine learning sort of scenario where it will analyze a CSV file and perform semantic, or it will basically look at the lines of code that I have there, and it will basically check what is the sentiment analysis, basically. So we are reading a text file in this case, and not that we have enough time as part of this webinar, but I'll just briefly point out. I have this very simple data set here, where we have some product specific comments along with the sentiment. So if let's say we have, I loved this product, it's amazing, it's a positive sentiment. If something is terrible, it's a negative sentiment. So we have positive, negative sentiments here. So if you want to do sentiment analysis, we can use machine learning for this purpose, and we can predict what could be the next potential comment posted by some user. So here we are basically training our model, we are scoring it, and we are coming up with some prediction or the accuracy for that model as well. And back in the day, we had the same stuff available as part of Business Intelligence Development Studio / SSAS, where we were able to do data mining, use different machine learning algorithms and whatnot. So you can basically do this thing in Fabric by writing code in Python without focusing on setting up things. So just start creating your Jupyter notebooks, write your code, and whatever your data set is available to you, like your OneLake or data warehouse sort of stuff, you basically just analyze that, make predictions and whatnot. So simply put, all of this stuff is available out of the box. As a data scientist, you're able to do this stuff out of the box. Okay, does anyone use data science concepts? Do you usually utilize machine learning sort of concepts or have any interest in it? You can post that in the chat window. Yes. So those who want to do this stuff, Fabric already has this stuff. Those who don't care for it, skip it. You can still benefit from other areas, other roles that are there in this Fabric technology. And those who just want to create reports and dashboards, you can use Power BI and connect to that single source of truth, OneLake basically, or your data warehouse / lakehouse that I talked about previously. So Fabric already has the data warehouse. That is your single source of truth. You don't need to focus on 300 CSV files, 400 Excel workbooks, 30 SQL Server Oracle databases anymore. You just focus on your single source of truth, data warehouse, which is super fast. When it comes to analyzing data, it's very, very fast. So you're basically able to create reports by using Power BI Desktop, and Fabric already has Power BI service. So you can publish your reports to the same Power BI service, which is available as part of Fabric. So for example, even here, if I switch back to this Fabric, so here we can see that we have the ability to deploy or publish reports as well. So for now, I'll just go to this particular workspace, and you can see that I have a bunch of reports already published, and they are connecting to the underlying data warehouse / lakehouse, and you are able to organize your report in the form of pages. Ignore the page names for now. So we have a bunch of pages here. So you're able to create reports, and they are able to use that single source of truth, which is very fast. And you can also create dashboards down the road, where each dashboard is a web page, and it's able to get visuals from different reports. So for example, your executives, managers, decision makers, they will not have the time to go through every detailed report. They will say, create more focused, role-specific dashboards here. So each dashboard is a web page where you basically just add bits and pieces from different reports, and you say, this is my dashboard. So here, if I just briefly show you this thing, not that we have to do this thing in detail here in this course or this webinar, but in the full-blown courses, we usually cover all of the stuff practically. So here I have this sample dashboard. Each visual is coming from a different report, and you're able to arrange these in the form of tiles. You can move these around, structure your dashboard however you want. People can even subscribe to it so that they will get notified whenever any changes have been made to the underlying data and whatnot. So, and you can also navigate to your detailed report from here if needed. So simply put, you can visualize data, present it to your managers, decision makers, and whatnot. So even if just report designing is your main focus, Fabric is still helpful. You can connect to your underlying data source and whatnot. In more advanced cases, you can also create apps, Power BI apps. So Power BI app we don't have the time to see that practically, but I'll just show you the screenshot for now. In the full-blown course, we see it practically. We discuss how to design it. You want to package all of your reports, your dashboards, your KPIs. They're also known as scorecards. So you want to package everything that is relevant to your audience. And you want to present everything in sort of an application format. So here we have something called Power BI app, where each item here is some report or dashboard or some scorecard. And now end users can look at it. Your executives, your outsiders and whatnot, like customers, clients and whatnot, they can look at this app. They can go through these reports, dashboards that are relevant to them. So you can basically bundle up everything, package up everything as a Power BI app. So even that is supported by Fabric. So in short, overall, Fabric, it's a huge technology. It even has some other miscellaneous bits and pieces, like you can configure some triggers, like if data goes below some threshold amount or over some threshold amount, you want to trigger some workflow, such as some maybe Power Automate kind of activity can be executed. So you can basically trigger some action. You can even receive notifications as well that something meets your expectations, or it has gone above the expected value, or below the expected value and whatnot. So you can use data activator for this purpose as part of Fabric. And we can even analyze real-time streaming kind of data as well. Non-stop continuous dashboards or dashboard updates can be implemented as well. So in short, overall Fabric, it's a huge technology and there's a lot to it. So this is overall the end-to-end sort of data engineering / data analytics sort of stuff. Okay, so any question regarding this part, this webinar? And yes, we'll be providing you with the slide deck as well as the video recording. And we do have detailed courses available on this technology. Like if you want to look at sort of the whole thing, we have DP600. Otherwise, you can also choose to pick and choose certain areas. Like, do you want to focus on TSQL portion? Do you want to focus on the Python portion? Do you want to be a data scientist or machine learning sort of programmer, or let's just call it data science area? So do you want to do that on Fabric? Do you want to just focus on reports? So we have various sort of individual courses available. Or if you want to use Azure Synapse, which is the more sort of advanced way of implementing Fabric, but you have to administer everything manually. You will have to integrate everything manually. So in that case, you will have to use data engineering option on Microsoft Azure by using Synapse. So you'll end up using Synapse basically. So for that, we have this particular course available. Okay, so any questions regarding this session? I'm going to check the chat window. So simply put, it's just the end-to-end data engineering / data analytics / machine learning, like data scientist sort of area / data analyst kind of area. Even decision makers can look at the picture or the end goal as well and whatnot. So it's basically this portion which integrates all of these important technologies in a very easy manner. Where you don't focus on the setup part, you instead focus on implementing it. You write code in Python, you use pandas, you use PyTorch and various other libraries and frameworks in Python, or you can say, I just want to use T-SQL or just the graphical tool set to design my data pipelines and whatnot. There's a question in the chat window. What are the commercial aspects like? Okay, so this is basically a software as a service offering. So this is SaaS offering. Whereas if you're using Synapse, and you integrate that with Power BI and Azure Data Lake Storage, that is the platform as a service offering. So this is a software as a service offering where you just get the subscription, and now you'll be billed not non-stop, but only for the actual consumption. So when your, let's say, Jupyter notebook containing Python code is running, whatever the amount of resources will be utilized to process that, you only pay for that actual processing. So you're not paying for it non-stop, like when you're sleeping or something like that. So it's not 24/7 kind of cost. It's only the cost for the actual consumption. So that is basically software as a service. So there's no initial cost at all. There's no upfront fee. It's only billed by the hour, and then you have to pay at the end of the month. So it's for the actual consumption. Unlike Synapse, where when you set up things, now you typically have to pay for it. There's a certain amount you have to pay for it unless you stop it manually. Same goes for Azure Data Lake Storage. You keep paying for that data lake storage based on the data size and whatnot. So overall, there's no upfront fee. It's basically pay as you go sort of option. And yes, you can definitely connect to your on-prem setup as well. So for that, it supports data gateway option. So you can set up your gateways, data gateways that can be in your on-prem environment or even on Azure or let's say, or even on AWS as well. So yes, it does support integration, like a hybrid as well as cross cloud sort of setup can be implemented as well. A very good question regarding the limitations and whatnot. So overall, you basically have to upload everything to this one lake. So even this data warehouse you will end up creating here, it actually stores data in this one lake. So one lake wise, overall, there isn't any limitation as such, but the resources that will be available to you, typically they are okay for around, let's say 10 terabyte of data. So if you are close to 10 terabyte of data, the resources that will be provided to you by Microsoft, they are typically sufficient. But if you say that, no, we have even larger, gigantic data sets, in that case, you have to go with Azure Synapse. So Synapse is meant for insane amount of processing capabilities, whereas Fabric is meant for sort of small to mid-level sort of scenarios where you have around 10 terabyte of data. So anything over that, yes, you can process it, but it will not be as fast as using Synapse. So still prefer using Synapse for more larger enterprise scenarios. And Fabric can be used for the majority of the scenarios. So when you hit some limit using Synapse, or sorry, using Fabric, then you can consider using Synapse. Okay, so any further questions regarding this part? So Fabric is available as service in, it uses Azure as the overall infrastructure, but overall you just have to go to, let's say, powerbi.com, or there are other links that I'll share with you later on. But overall, you can just basically navigate to even powerbi.com and just get the subscription. So Fabric is available as part of powerbi.com and also as a separate URL as well. So no, you don't need to go to the Azure portal itself. You just need to go to the Fabric portal. So it has its separate portal. So simply put, just go to powerbi.com and you'll be able to see the subscription option for Fabric. Okay, in that case, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here with you for this session. And
yeah, Fahim, thank you. Thank you so much. And I think Fahim has to teach a class in about 7 minutes. So thanks for staying on and taking the questions. And just in case you didn't see in the chat, this session has been recorded, and we'll send you the URL afterwards. Oh, yeah, Fahim has to go and teach a class. He's in demand. Thank you all very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we will be in touch after. Oh, thanks everyone. Thank you. I will I will send it on to Fahim. And we really appreciate that you spent this hour with us, and we hope you'll join us in the next one. We'll probably be having another Microsoft, maybe a Microsoft security webinar in July, and possibly a Microsoft Copilot in August. So we'll let you know about that. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much again. Bye all.